Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the session this morning on Microsoft CloudAscent. My name is Laura Monaghan, and I'm the EMEA Partner GTM Manager for Azure SMB, covering Belgium, Austria, and Ireland. So this morning, I want to take you through kind of what CloudAscent is, how it's built, and then do a quick demo of the tool. It's available to all of our partners through Partner Centre. So what is CloudAscent? Well, it's essentially our SMB customer propensity lists. And for each of you, it's available in Partner Centre. And there you'll find information on your customers within CloudAscent. It's a data engine focused on SMB customers only. And it's driven by machine learning models. So each cloud product has their own CloudAscent model, and each model has two elements: the account fit element that you see here at the bottom of the screen, and then also the buyer intent element. And both of these comprise of an analysis of hundreds of signals and inputs. The propensity lists in CloudAscent are actually managed by an external company who specialize in putting this kind of data together. So lots of Microsoft internal, but also external data is taken into account. Specifically with the account fit score, we're looking at the top SMB customers from a Microsoft perspective and looking at the sales elements that make them top customers. So things like historical revenue and sales opportunity data that we have, any win-loss information, and then other Microsoft sales data. We also look at the customers' demographics to get information such as their customer size, number of employees, their install data, etc. Then on top of the account fit, we layer the buyer intent data. And this includes signals of their online behavior. So typical intent data from a marketing perspective. So we look at things like, are they blogging? Are they doing anything online that might indicate that they're looking for specific products? Are they posting jobs? Are they on conferences? What's their social engagement? And are they browsing any products and services that from a Microsoft perspective? So all of the intent models are updated on a monthly basis, and the account fit models are updated on a quarterly basis. The intent data is updated on the 20th of every month. So on the 20th of every month, you may see some changes in the tagging of your customers. We funnel then all of that information through the machine learning models and get their account fit and buyer intent scores. And these scores are ranked then into high, medium, low, and very low across the two factors. So we use that then to cluster them into act now, evaluate, nurture, and educate buckets. As long as a customer meets the account fit score of high, they're put into the cluster of act now, even if their intent score is low or very low. The act now customers have a high account fit score, which means that they demonstrate sales and CRM data and have similar firmographics as customers that Microsoft has tagged as top customers. Our suggestion for these accounts is that you really have your sales teams go through the list, provide their input on the accounts, and then call in these accounts to have a conversation around Azure. The evaluate category then has a account fit of medium, and again they have varying fits across the intent signals from high to very low. Again, here, if you have the capacity, we suggest that you call down these accounts to have an Azure discussion. But if you don't have the capacity within your sales team to do that, then potentially the next suggestion would be to really include them in a targeted paid media campaign. For both of these, if your list is quite large or you want to get down to really just the top few, you can then also within the CloudAscent report filter for high and medium intent signals. So it means then you're calling customers who we say are a good account fit based off their previous purchases and firmographics, and then who are also showing signals of looking for specific technology. And then for the nurture and educate accounts, those are accounts that we suggest that you really just take into your general marketing campaigns and nurture streams. So if you have newsletters, include those accounts in there so that they're familiar with your brand. And by the time they get to thinking about purchasing something, or when they're looking for specific technologies, then your brand will be familiar to them. So before I go into a demo, I just want to highlight within CloudAscent that we have what we call cohorts, which are essentially targeting scenarios. We have those for modern work, business applications, and Azure. Today I'm going to focus on the Azure ones because that's my area of expertise. So if we just take a quick look at the Azure ones, and I'll show you this in the report. Within Azure, we have specific solution plays. For SMB, the most relevant one from a Microsoft perspective, where we see the most opportunity, is within the migrate and secure Windows Server and SQL Server solution play. Within that, there's a number of different target scenarios. So Windows Server and SQL, with or without software assurance, end of support, first workloads, so AVD, backup customers, and then AI-ready data, and a couple of other categories. Within each of those categories, then in the CloudAscent, we have lists of customers that we've aligned to those specific products with varying details around their software assurance and also sometimes their licensing. So I'll show you that within the report. So it means if you're running campaigns around any of these technology, or if you have a specific offering that's based on AVD, you can specifically within CloudAscent look for the most relevant list. So let me take you now to CloudAscent, and this is a demo account that I'm using today. So there is lots of data in here, but there is no actual customer data. And when you go into Partner Center, you will see just the details of the customers that you've ever sold anything to. So CloudAscent data can be found within the Insights tab of your Partner Center. There's two places where you can find it. One is the customer opportunities, which really just gives you a high-level overview of all of the CloudAscent data that is available for your customers. So you can see, for example, across the upper medium, and very small businesses, how many customers you have within your CloudAscent data. And then across the act now, nurture, evaluate, and educate, where those customers fall. And then right at the top, you have the summary of how many customers, expiring agreements, and the revenue within those expiring agreements. So it's a way for you to quickly see where you might want to focus. Where I go to is always the download hub, which is where you can actually start to really get into the full details of those customers. So within the download hub, I've created this one first, and I have that open, so I'll show it to you in a second, because it does take a minute or two just to generate the report. What you do is you create a new report. I'm going to focus on Azure, so I'm going to click on the Cloud Product Performance list, and then here you see you can either start with the basics, or you can go right to the advanced download options. And then here there's a number of data sources. So there's propensity lists for Azure, Dynamics 365, M365, Surface, and a number of other reports that you can simply click on, and it'll give you everything you need. So in this case, we're going to click on Azure Propensity, and then you see all of the data points that you can include in the report. All of this list here is the individual cohorts that I just referred to, and I'll show you those within the report. So I'm just going to include everything. You just need to simply give your report a name and then click on the download now. And then as soon as that starts downloading, it'll bring you back to your list of reports. So here you can see that's the one I've just created, and it's running. It just takes a minute or two. It's actually quite quick for that report to become available. Once it is available, you simply click on the download button, and then you can open it. So here's one I created earlier, and this is the data that you'll find in it if you've just gone through exactly those steps that I've created. So the first thing I always do is add filters to be able to allow you to just filter the data the way you need it. At the beginning of the report, you'll find your partner information, and then you'll find the really demographics of and details of the customer organization. So their account numbers, DUNS numbers, the organization size, industries and verticals, where they are. And then it goes into our segmentation data. So which segment are they in, which sub-segment are, and then as I showed you before, that upper, medium and small, where do they fit within those categories. You can use that to filter the size of the organization, or you can use the org size, whichever you think is a better fit for what you need. Is it a non-profit? And then it goes into those cohort lists that I mentioned earlier. So here you can see along the top what information is included there. So essentially within these lists, we're saying yes or no, this customer is a good or not a good fit for migrate and modernize apps. Yes or no, this customer is or isn't a good fit for build intelligent cloud native apps. So there's a ton of different technologies included across here. Not all of them are going to be relevant for your organization. So what I'd suggest is that you just go through them all one by one, highlight the ones that are most relevant for you, and forget the others. Because there is a lot of information, it can be overwhelming. So really just stick to the pieces that you think are going to be most useful for your organization. So we have things like backup on-prem, migrate and modernize VMware. I'm going to go through the VDI and AVD ones because that's the one that I see coming up over and over again. But for AVD, we have VDI to AVD, VDI to AVD with Citrix, cross-sell from Modern Work to Azure AVD, VDI to AVD RDS, VDI to AVD VMware. So you can see for all of your customers, you can see which might be the best scenario to target them with. There will be customers that are on multiple of these lists. So if they're on VDI to AVD, chances are they're on the VDI to AVD with Citrix. So it really just depends. If you're going to focus on the Act Now accounts and you're having a direct conversation one-to-one with the customers, it just enables you to tweak that message slightly. So I'm going to click yes for the VDI to AVD, and that essentially is then my list of customers who we've tagged as a good fit for VDI to AVD. I won't go through all of these. These are continue to be, we have propensity list around security and support, then Windows Server and SQL, server migration, Linux estate, etc. So a lot of details there. Right at the towards the end of the report, then you come to your details around the Azure fit. So again, that is whether they we tag them as a fit to be a top customer for specific technology. So you can use this here again to filter even within that propensity list for AVD, the Azure high fit. You can filter again for the high and medium intent so that you're filtering down to the customers who are actually already searching for specific technologies. And that will then ensure that you're actually anything that's a high fit for an Azure fit will be an Act Now account. So you can use those two filters, or you can simply use the Azure cluster filter, which again will filter down to your high or medium if you click Act Now and evaluate. So again, a number of ways to actually filter the report to get to the customer target list that you think is most relevant. And then at the end of the report, there is details around some of the licensing, so open renewals, and then whether they have certain products. So have they already got Azure? Have they got D365, M365, Google, AWS, enterprise agreements, open renewals? And then for some customers, we also have data around the number of workloads they currently have, what their existing workloads are, the number of recommended workloads. So there are, for example, here 3 workloads that you could position with this customer. It doesn't mean that you position them all in one conversation, but whichever is the most relevant technology, again, for your organization, that should be the one you focus on. So it gives you first details of what workloads we think will be relevant for that customer, and have they transacted in the last 36 months. So a lot of information included in the report itself. Again, the report is quite big, so my advice really is that you download it, you start to play around with it, and you figure out what are the 2 to 3 things that you can really use this report for. From a marketing perspective, it's definitely a great list to include in your marketing campaigns. So a lot of companies run marketing campaigns to target new customers. This is obviously an upsell motion, but if the message fits, if you're targeting new customers, there is no disadvantage really to including also customers from within your own current base to who have shown propensity for that specific technology. So you can also focus on upselling and acquiring new customers if the message is a good fit. The other thing again is the Act Now is really a good resource for the sales teams to start looking at which accounts are a good fit for specific technology to start upselling into those accounts. So depending on what it is you want to do, you might have different people actually looking at the information. And that's it from my side. Are there any questions at this point? Feel free to come off mute or to put them in the IM. Okay, if there's no questions at this point, there may be later when you start to look at the information within your own partner center. So if you have any questions before you do that, while you're doing it, after you're doing it, or in any of our other Azure programs from Microsoft, feel free to reach out to me. I'm available on LinkedIn, per email, per telephone, and you can also book some time with me if you want to go through anything in depth. So reach out if you have any questions, or even if you'd just like to connect, and I will come back to you with the answers as best I can. So with that, thank you very much for your time this morning. I will make sure that the deck is made available. I have slides that are screenshots of the demo that I've just done in the appendix, so I'll make sure those are included in the deck. And otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.